In this video, we'll be discussing translating the graph of an exponential function. Let's recall that transformations, when it's with the x, that's left and right and opposite of the sign. And when it's outside, not with the x, it's up and down. It's the same as the sign. Okay, so looking at this first one, this minus 1 would be the first one with the x, left and right and opposite of the sign. Okay, so since that's a minus 1, that would make that shift. This would be a right 1 shift. Okay, and then this minus 4 is this one. It's outside and it's up and down and the same as the sign. So since this is a minus 4, that would be down 4. Okay, now let's take a look at the graph of y is equal to 1/2 x. Okay, so we're graphing 1/2 to the power of x, and what are some good x values I can plug in to get nice values on this graph? Well, 0 is always a good one for exponentials. Anything to the 0 power is 1. So if I put a 0 right here, it doesn't matter if this is a fraction. Anything to the 0 power is 1. So that gives us an answer of 1, and we get our first point on the graph. 0 on the x and 1 on the y. That's right here. Okay, now let's do another one. If we plugged in a positive 1, then it would basically just be 1/2. Okay, and we can do that. But what are some numbers that we could possibly plug in that would give us whole number values? Okay, so those numbers actually on this one are going to be negative values. Notice if I plug in a -1 into this function right here, I'll go over here off to the side and do this. So it's 1/2 to the -1 power. Okay, so anytime you raise something to a negative power, it takes what's inside and flips it upside down if it's a fraction. And if it's a whole number, you turn it into a fraction. So this one is already 1/2. So I can change this to, instead of 1/2 to the -1, I can flip it and make it 2/1 to the +1. And then you don't need either one of these two or these ones. So the answer is just 2. So it flips that fraction upside down and gives us a 2. So when we plug in a -1 into this thing, we get a 2 as an answer. And that would give us the point -1, 2. Okay, so I go to -1, 2, -1 on the x and 2 on the y. That's right there. Okay, let's do one more point. We can do -2. If I plug in a -2 into this thing, let's do it over here again. 1/2 to the -2 becomes 2 to the +2, which is 4. Okay, so you flip this, and it's no longer a fraction because it's a 2, and now this is positive, so 2 to the 2 is equal to 4. So -2, comma 4. Okay, and 3 points is enough to graph this thing. So -2 and then 4 is up here. So about right there. Okay, here's the graph of the original function. Okay, looks about like that. Okay, and this right here would be the asymptote, 0. And if you want to know more about graphing these things, I do have a video on that. Check it out. Okay, so now we take those 3 points and we shift them like this, right 1 and down 4. I'm going to put it in red. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and instead of the asymptote being there, I'm going to put it down here because the thing was shifted down 4. So instead of not being able to cross this line, my new shifted graph won't be able to cross this line. So it'll butt up right against it like this. Okay, so let's take these points and go right 1, down 4. Right 1, down 4, 2, 3, 4. There's a point. Okay, this one, right 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this one, right 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 is right there. Okay, so that's good enough. We go ahead and graph those. Okay, and there we go. Okay, that's the shifted graph. All right, let's take a look at the second one. Okay, here's the second one. So let's first take a look at what we've got here. Y is equal to 2 to the x has become y is equal to 2 to the x plus 3 and then plus 1. Okay, so this 3 right here is with the x, so that's left and right and opposite of the sign. So this is going to go left 3. Okay, this 1 is outside, so it's going to go up and down, same as the sign. So that one's going to go up by 1. Okay, now let's go back and graph the original function. Y is equal to 2 to the x. What are some good numbers I could plug in here into this x that would give me nice whole number answers? Well, 0 is always a good choice. That's a 0. So 2 to the 0 is 1. So you get the point 0, comma 1. 0, comma 1, just like last time, right there. Okay. We could plug in a 1. Plug in a 1 right here. 2 to the 1 is equal to 2. So 1, comma 2. Okay, so 1, 2, that's right here. Okay. And then we've got, let's do a 2. Plug in a 2. So 2 to the 2 power right here becomes a 4. So you get the point 2, comma 4. Okay, so let's put that one on there. 2 and then up 4. It's right here. Okay, that's good enough. Let's go ahead and graph that thing. The x-axis will be our asymptote on this one. That's going to be the what we can't cross. So it gets closer and closer to that and does not ever cross it though. Okay, so there's the graph of that. Now I'm going to take each one of those 3 points that I just put and I'm going to do this shift on them, left 3 and up 1. Okay, so here's a point. So I go left 3, 1, 2, 3, up 1. There we go. And then this one, left 3, up 1, 1, 2, 3, up 1 here. And then left 3, 1, let's see, that's 1, 2, 3 here, and then up 1 is here. Okay, and our new asymptote, since this thing's been shifted up by 1, is here. That's the line that we can't cross now with the red one. Okay, so that's going to hug that line right there and go up. So there are my 3 shifted points. And that's it.